Hi madam, I'm Harshini. So I will give a small introduction for the topic foreign exchange market. So the triangular arbitrage is that the result of a discrepancy between three foreign currencies that happens when the currencies' exchange rates do not exactly match up. This sort of arbitrage may be a riskless profit that happens when a quoted rate of exchange does not equal the market's cross-exchange rate. Price differences between exchange rates are only fractions of a cent, and for this type of arbitrage to be profitable, a trader must trade an outsized amount of capital. In this paper, 4 types of currencies were chosen to prepare a combination of triangular arbitrage, which started from 1st November 2020 until 31st November 2021. The 4 currencies we have chosen are New Taiwan Dollar, Philippine Peso, Vietnamese Dong, and Thai Baht. Based on this, we prepared for the investment of 1 million ringgit and calculated the end profit. From this, we can come to an understanding of the foreign exchange market, and it helps us to increase our analytical and creativity in problem solving. Let's go to the chapter 2. First, let's look on the history of New Taiwan Dollar. The New Taiwan Dollar is the legal currency of Taiwan. Recently, it is also circulating in the territories under Taiwanese sovereignty like the Pescadores, Kinmen, Matsu, and Pratas Island since 1949. Initially, it was issued by the Bank of Taiwan, and currently it is issued by the Central Bank of the Republic of China. The first new dollar was issued on June 15, 1949 to change the old Taiwanese dollar with an exchange rate of $40,000 for one new dollar. The primary aim of this new dollar was to stop the hyperinflation suffered by Taiwan and China during the Chinese Civil War. After a few months, the government of the Republic of China below the Kuomintang was beaten by the Chinese communists and retreated to Taiwan. According to the regulation on the exchange rate between New Taiwanese dollars and the fiduciary currency in the Republic of China, the exchange rate was fixed at 3 Taiwan dollar per 1 yuan of silver and was never changed. But the silver yuan was the main currency of legal tender. It was difficult to buy, sell, or use it, so it did not exist in front of the public. Next, let's look on the history of the Philippine peso. During the year 1898, the country saw a transformation when its capital was used to issue coins and paper money of its currency. But the change was temporary as the circulation of the currency concluded in 1901. At the year 1949, the Central Bank of the Philippines was arranged, and in the 1950s, it needed to retain the US dollar at 2-1. It became unlikely when the black market of peso started beyond the fixed system where it was frequently exchanged at 3-1. A severe transformation happened when the central bank issued the new design series. In 1987, new 500 PHP notes were introduced. The first 1000 PHP notes were introduced in 1991, and in 2002, 200 PHP notes were released. The name New Design Series refers to the Philippine notes published between 1985 and 1993. It was then renamed as the BSP series due to the restoration of the BSP in 1993. It was changed by the New Generation Currency series, which was released in December 2010. Banknotes from the latest currency series were printed until 2013 and remained as a legal tender until December 31, 2015. The original demonetization date for the bills was January 1, 2017, but the time frame for replacing old notes was prolonged twice, which was first until June 30th, 2017 and then until December 29, 2017. Now let's look into the history of Vietnamese Dong. In 1978, the unification of Vietnam, which is the North and South Vietnam, caused the introduction of one dong. On September 14, 1985, Vietnamese dong was revalued and the new dong was valued at 10 old Vietnamese dong. It started a period of sustained inflation that lasted for most of the early 1990s. The State Bank of Vietnam published notes in 1978 in denominations of 5 hao, 1 dong, 5 dong, 10 dong, 20 dong, and 50 dong notes. In 1980, the 2 Vietnamese dong and 10 Vietnamese dong notes were announced, and in 1981, 30 Vietnamese dong and 100 Vietnamese dong were announced. The notes were taken away in 1985 because of inflation and economic uncertainty, which they progressively lost value. During the year 1985, notes in values of 5 hao, 1 Vietnamese dong, 5 Vietnamese dong, 10 Vietnamese dong, 20 Vietnamese dong, 50 Vietnamese dong, 100 Vietnamese dong, and 500 Vietnamese dong were launched. Since inflation was continuing, the initial notes were followed by notes in values of 200, 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000 in 1987, while 10,000 and 50,000 notes in 1990, 20,000 in 1991, 100,000 in 1994, 500,000 in 2003, and 200,000 in 2006. Now, banknotes with values of 500 Vietnamese dong are no more circulated. Now let's look into the history of Thai baht. Before using flat banknotes and coins, Thailand used shells, baked clay coins, and pot duang as legal tender. During the control of King Mongkut, Thailand had started diplomatic relations with major Western countries and had executed a free trade. Therefore, in 1853, King Mongkut ordered the first paper money called Mai, which did not have a big success because people still preferred to use the pot duang. Then King Chulalongkorn commanded using a low-value paper currency called At Kradat while waiting for the copper coins ordered from England, which would be taken away from circulation later on in 1875. In 1890, the government was deciding to issue a kind of paper money called Ngoin Kradat Luang or treasury notes, but did not set into circulation due to incompetence in managing banknotes. The year 1902, during the control of King Chulalongkorn at the Thai Department of Technology below the Ministry of Finance, officially opened. The duty of this department placed in the issuance and exchange of banknotes that were sent into circulation on 23rd September 1902, marking the inauguration of modern Thai banknotes. So that's all from me, and I will pass to the next person.
Okay, so hi, Assalamualaikum to Madam Mahfuzah. My name is Syahidah Sabri. Let's just start with the FDI, which is the foreign direct investment. So this is the Taiwan's FDI. So Taiwan's business environment remains very attractive as the country has a very strategic location, and it is a gateway to China and Asian market. So that is why diorang punya yang dekat graph tu naik sebab diorang betul-betul dekat strategic location. So they have the, ability to do that. So Taiwan is an international oriented economy. Most of the trade balance is largely in surplus. Surplus is dia mendatangkan profit ataupun hasil. Taiwan is a highly developed free market economy, allowing them to be included in the advanced economies group by the International Monetary Fund. And lastly, their foreign direct investment is booming in a positive way because they present many opportunities for foreign investors and highly promotes FDI to foreign professionals that were employed in Taiwan. So that's it for Taiwan punya FDI. Move on to their political risk pula. So zaman dulu ada conflict between Taiwan dengan China. So the probability of serious diplomatic problems between China and Taiwan is clearly rising. However, walaupun dia ada political risk, but such problems will not destabilize or threaten Taiwan. Benda ni tak ancam dia pun, tak bagi apa-apa effect dekat Taiwan. And despite all these silly problems, that Taiwan remains one of the most stable and secure third world country. And here, these are the reasons lah. Okay, so both Taiwan and China still exchange their expertise with each other and they invest with one another. So no matter how hard things are between them, they are still, doing business together. So normal lah tu, gaduh-gaduh juga, tapi business tetap business, benda tetap jalan. Next. Oh, so we go to Philippines. Okay, when we talk about Philippines ni actually, dia baru je amended dia punya FDI, baru-baru ni, 2019 to 2022. Okay. So in 2019, Philippines has announced to amend its FIA. FIA is Foreign Investment Act due to their struggles in dealing with all of the foreign investment. Dulu, Philippines memang struggle lah dengan semua-semua ni. And then things has been quite hard for them back in those days. But however, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic has forced the government to enact reforms and encourage foreign investments into the country. So, start daripada dia COVID hari tu, dia punya, apa tu orang kata? Dia orang struggle banyak. And by amending the FIA, the government terpaksa juga sebab in order to nak dapatkan balik the profit yang diorang dah hilang during the COVID tu. Okay, so this thing is to aim and promote and attract, betul lah, foreign investments by allowing for the first time international investors to set up and fully own domestic enterprises, including micro and small enterprises in the Philippines. So this is what they did in order to sustain their businesses and diorang punya foreign direct investment lah in Philippines. Next is Philippines punya political risk. So, okay, political risk in the Philippines is moderate. Moderate is actually, it is in between, good and not too good. So, moderate macam in the middle lah. So, the government's main focus is on the security. Okay, before I start this one, nak bagi faham, Philippines ni, dia macam, dia punya country is a bit problematic at first place sebab banyak case dekat situ, political case, lepas tu case dengan rakyat dia. But here, the government's main focus on security and illegal drugs. Yes, orang dekat Philippines memang kuat, benda-benda macam ni. And other political controversies, the Philippines ranks were low in the World Banks. Yelah sebab banyak sangat violence. And then corruption. Okay, corruption. The main thing here. Corruption in the Philippine political system is exemplified by its tradition of patronage license, monopolies, contracts, appointments are awarded through patronage, making the whole sectors of the government inefficient, poor, managed and uncompetitive. Disebabkan semua benda-benda ni dia dah tak boleh nak compete with other countries because of the problems that they had. And then corruption is common in the Philippines. 72% of Filipinos felt that government's attempt to fight corruption were either ineffective or impotent. Impotent tu macam sia-sia je, macam tak ada harapan lah dia nak fight corruption in the Philippines. The corruption is too high. So now let's move on to Vietnam's FDI. Ni Vietnam punya lah. So Vietnam's FDI figure suffered and dropped drastically. As you can see dekat sini, ada that one point dia jatuh drastic, and then this is due to the stringent lockdown and movement restrictions caused by the pandemic. So most Asian countries memang during pandemic diorang jatuh teruk lah. Nevertheless, Vietnam still recorded a positive GDP, and with the country slowly reopening, economic prospects are bright for 2022. Why bright? Sebab nampak ni drastic jatuh, but they are actually slowly going back up. So there's still hope for them to be, back on top. Before I start here, I would like to tell this one first. Vietnam is a communist state. Communist state, which is diorang punya country tu strict, and most are banned in practice. Diorang punya freedom of expression, religious freedom, and civil society activism are tightly restricted. Semua benda government dia yang control. So orang dalam dia tak boleh nak buat apalah. Vietnam does not welcome political dissent. There are strict restrictions on freedom of speech, which can affect news broadcasts from coming in. They do not want to risk themselves with unnecessary propagandas or fake news. So orang-orang macam ni dia macam dah malas nak layan lah kalau macam ada news ke apa, sebab even sekarang dekat Vietnam Vietnam and also North Korea, they don't have like, you know, social media apa semua, benda tu restricted. So memang diorang tak tahu apa-apa news lah. And then hence Vietnam's COVID response has been internationally recognized as effective. Bila benda tu effective, that means dia ada high possibility untuk benda tu macam, you know, the COVID to be spreaded is in a high risk lah. So Vietnam closed its borders early. It has suspended visas and visa waivers. Entry into Vietnam for foreign nationals is tightly restricted to a small number of diplomats on official business. Orang yang buat business saja, certain high skilled workers and some family members. Only those yang, you know, pergi ke Vietnam kena ada tujuan lah. Tak boleh pergi untuk bercuti lagi dah. So move on to the last one, which is Thailand. So this is Thailand's FDI. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, also lagi sekali, COVID-19 pandemic adalah punca FDI jatuh masa 2020-2021, a few years back. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Thailand's FDI flows are expected to fall. Yes, it did. Kat sini. Okay, so economically, this country of 67 million people is characterized by steady growth, strong exports, and a vibrant domestic consumer market. Abundant natural resources. Abundant is terbiar ataupun ialah terbiar lah. And a skilled and cost-effective workforce help attract foreign investors and enable them to prosper and develop industry in Thailand. So bila benda tu dah terbiar, dah tak ada orang yang that work into that particular category. So diorang boleh lah macam hire orang untuk buat kerja tu. So adalah peluang pekerjaan. So that is how diorang punya FDI went back up. Sebab dia ada benda-benda ni semua. So now move on to their political risk. Political risk Thailand sama juga macam tadi, moderate juga. Not too bad, not too good. Okay. So Thailand faced disruptions through cabinet reshuffles and delays in the enacting the budget. Thailand punya ahli kabinet, ahli-ahli politik, diorang memang agak tak berapa nak baik sangat lah. Okay, and then some political uncertainty remains. And then risk of political violence remains prominent because of Thailand's long history of military coups. Ada kisah-kisah dia yang sebelum ni yang where ada violence happens and ada kena-mengena dengan history diorang. Apa tah? Ada perampasan apa tah? And then ada conflict between them all, which has caused to the downturn of their economic lah. Yang this one, kejatuhan dekat sini is diakibatkan oleh benda ni lah. Okay. So now let's move on with the SWOT. Kita ada 4 country, which is Taiwan, Philippines, Vietnam and Thailand. So let's move on with the first one. Okay. S is for strength, W weakness, O opportunity and T is threat. Okay. So S untuk Taiwan, dia punya strength dia is, sorry tak nampak. Okay. Taiwan's currency had a boost from their country's strong export performance and became the strongest currency in Asia last year. So they are among the strongest. And their punya weakness is Thailand dollar fortunes changing due to heavy foreign outflows. So bila foreign outflows tu heavy sangat, that is currently what driving the NTD, dia punya duit tu NTD, new Taiwan dollar to become weaker. Now dia punya opportunity pula with the lame economic growth and sluggish exports in 2013, coupled with plunging Japanese yen, some Taiwanese exporters have called for a significant devaluation of the new NTD to maintain regional competitiveness. Macam mana nak cakap kalau macam Taiwan dia ada buat business juga dengan, jadi invest juga with Japan pun ada invest juga in Taiwan. So benda tu macam buat dia jadi a part of being competitive lah in the foreign direct investment dengan adanya Japan punya help tadi. So dia punya threats pula, Taiwan Central Bank publicly adopts a manage float currency. So bila currency tu float, dia akan at the end of the day it will become negative and takkan ada surplus lagi dah. And then the bank will intervene when there is a perceived imbalance that could threaten financial or economic stability. So now we move on to Philippines. Okay, Philippines strength is okay. So the Philippine falling imports as a result of a weak domestic economy, but listen, have ended up benefiting its currency. Okay, walaupun import Philippine ni tak berapa nak kuat sangat, is a bit, dia tak berapa nak strategic, is weak. Diorang punya domestic tak berapa nak power pun. Tapi dia still bawa benefit to their country. And then they are also known as the best performer in Asia for far this year. So dia punya weakness is a collapse in demand for imports came after the Southeast Asian country went through one of the world's longest and strictest lockdown pasal coronavirus lah. And then dia punya opportunity, the fall in imports was steeper than exports, which proves to be a boon to their currency as it flips the Philippines currency account into surplus. So bila dia punya accounts dah flip into surplus, they memang ada peluang lah dekat situ, which is diorang punya opportunity. Okay, so now lastly is dia punya threats. High levels of corruption and institutional weakness undermine the score, but strong parliamentary and public economic structure risk is high. So benda-benda ni lah yang jadi threats for Philippines. Okay, next is we go to Vietnam. Betul kan Vietnam? Okay, Vietnam. Sorry, halang pula kat sini. Okay, duduk sini. Okay, so Vietnam punya strength is, tepilah. Okay. Producers and traders now benefit from a low interest rate on their loans and increasing deposit rate. Investing in Vietnamese dong is therefore proving to be a real opportunity for foreign investors who must nevertheless keep an eye on inflation of dong to avoid loss. So Vietnamese dong ni dia punya amount dia tak berapa nak tinggi sangat. But at some point bila adanya inflation tu dia akan jatuh mendadak. But bila dia macam deflasi ataupun ada at some point dia punya currency akan naik. So actually Vietnam punya currency ni is good for investment juga. Cuma itulah kena watch out for dia punya ni lah, inflation, dia punya FDI turun naik. So now dia punya weakness, the Vietnamese dong is currently the third weakest circulating currency, true, as they began to trade with the broader world, but their economy was still in shambles. So many people still prefer to keep foreign currencies rather than dong. Orang nak simpan US dollar, orang nak simpan duit lain lah, tapi bukan Vietnamese dong. Sebab dia punya tu terlampau macam, low. And their opportunities is, Vietnamese companies have finally matured enough to be competitive in foreign markets. Okay, so although the dong is still one of the least valued currencies in the world, there is no longer fear of a massive devaluation. Now, last but not least is the threats. Allah, tudung ni. Vietnam is suffering from extreme poverty. Poverty is kemiskinan. Vietnam began to trade with the broader world, but their economy was still in shambles. Sama macam tadi juga. Weakness to threats, the same thing. Sebab I Google keluar the two same thing, so I think it's related well. And last but not least is Thailand. Thailand punya strength is the Thai baht is once the strongest performing currency in Asia before the pandemic. Also, before the pandemic memanglah semua ni. Okay, Thai baht is very volatile and its recent high volatility is likely to continue until now. And dia punya weakness, Thailand's currency is the weakest performing this year, tahun ni, compared to other major Asia Pacific currencies. Strong currency is worsening the Thai economy's plight by hurting exports further. Okay, this is the thing here. A stronger currency, Thailand ni, dia punya currency is quite strong and high value juga, okay? But what makes it, apa yang, macam nak cakap lah? Okay, kita baca dulu. A stronger currency makes the country exports more expensive. Okay, bila currency export dia punya export ni makin mahal, causing them to be less attractive in international market. Siapa nak be interested diorang punya international market? Benda dah mahal kan? So, itu je lah. Diorang push export tu further. Macam harga tu dinaikkan mendadak. So, starting from there, orang dah tak berminat nak, nak invest ataupun buat export with Thailand lah. Ataupun export barang ke Thailand lah, macam tu. Okay, now dia punya opportunities. Oh, sorry. I duduk atas. The currency has surged and helped by a strong economic fundamentals. The emergence of COVID-19 vaccines had also given Thailand hope for an earlier than expected recovery of in foreign tourist arrivals. Okay, ni yang cerita dulu-dululah masa COVID dulu, ada dia buat vaksin ni to seorang pesakit COVID and dia recover cepat. So starting from then orang macam yakin nak pergi Thailand. Orang luar yakin nak masuk Thailand because dengan adanya vaksin ni. So that is one of the opportunity untuk dapatkan the foreign direct investment. Orang datang Thailand mesti nak change currency exchange kan. So itulah, daripada situlah dia dapat naikkan sikit FDI dia in the in the present of the COVID-19 vaccine. So now, last but not least, is their punya threats. The tourism decline hits Thailand and gives a major negative impact into their country's currencies and FDI. Fewer tourists also mean lower demand for the Thai baht. True. Thailand's overdependable on tourism is going to be very challenging. So Thailand dia tak ada choice. Dia depends lah on tourism. Kalau orang datang, ramai yang datang, maka dia punya demand for currency akan jadi tinggi. Kalau tak ada. So, namanya FDI akan jadi low lah. Because tak ada orang datang Thailand. So, where do they get profit, surplus? That's not going to work that way. So, I think that's all for me. Abdullah, this is the last slide. Anyway, thank you so much, madam. And I'm sorry kalau ada tersasul or whatsoever. But I'll just pass to the next person. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ahmad Mirza. And I'm going to explain to you the analysis of currency arbitrage. So we have choose 4 countries, which is Taiwan, Vietnam, Philippines and Thailand. Those 4 countries we have decided to choose 2 countries to invest our money, which is Philippines and Thailand. The reason why we choose those 2 countries is because if we invest in those currency, which is Philippine pesos and Thailand baht, we gonna make a profit. And if we decided to choose Taiwan and Vietnamese, we gonna lose our money. So next, I'm going to explain to you the process of currency arbitrage. The student were given 1 million ringgit Malaysia to invest and make a profit. If we started with November 2020, those 1 million that were given to us, we decided to buy a Philippine pesos with the price 48.1100. So after we buy the Philippine pesos, we have 3,002 Philippine pesos in our hand. So our next step, those Philippine pesos, we buy a Thailand baht with the price 30.2960. And after we convert the Philippine pesos to Thai baht, we have 6,029 Thai baht. After we have the Thailand baht in our hand, we converted back the Thailand baht to Malaysian ringgit with the price 4.0670. After we convert the Thai baht to Malaysian ringgit, we have 6,004,058. So, after we calculated, in November 2020, we have the profit 6,004,000 and we have make a profit 5,004,088 ringgit Malaysia. So that is our currency arbitrage process in November 2020, which is the first month of our investing in those currency. So those process and strategy we repeated in 12 months. In December 2020, we used the same strategy and we repeated the process. From Malaysian ringgit, we buy a Philippine pesos, and from Philippine pesos, we buy Thailand baht, and then back to the Malaysian ringgit. And after we calculated, we have profit 5.4 million ringgit Malaysia. That is the second month of our investing in those country. So the next month, which is January in 2021, same strategy and the same process we use to invest in those currency. Our profit is 5.5 million. In February 2021, our profit is 5.4 million. In March 2021, our profit is 5.4 million. In April, our profit is 5.3 million. May 2021, our profit is 5.3 million. In June 2021, our profit is 5.2 million. In July 2021, our profit is 5.4 million. August 2021, our profit is 5.3 million. In September 2021, our profit is 5.2 million. And lastly, the 12th month after we invested in those currency, our profit is 5.3 million. So those are our calculation and analysis if we invested our money, our started up capital to this currency, Philippine pesos and Thai baht. And the conclusion of our analysis, the profit that we can make if we invested, if we buy their currency, is consistency. The profit is consistent from the first month up until to the 12th month. So this show that we can make a profit if we invested in those two currency, which is Philippine pesos and Thailand baht. That's all of our analysis currency arbitrage, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Khairul Bariah, and I would like to explain about the analysis. And in my explanation, I will conclude the method give of profit, and the definition of triangular arbitrage. Why we using the triangular arbitrage and how we calculate it. So first of all, what is triangular arbitrage? This method is to measure the result of a gap in the exchange rate of three currencies. Like we selected Malaysian ringgit, Philippine pesos, and Thai baht. Why are we using that? Everyone knows investor desires to get a fixed profit with a less risky calculation. So that is the purpose why we're using this triangular arbitrage method. The next part. This is how we calculate exchange rate using triangular arbitrage method. First of all, investors need to identify the currency and look at the opportunities to associate these three selected currencies. Like us, we choose the three currencies that I've mentioned before. So we identify the currencies and we look the way how to calculate it. And then we need to identify if the currency is cross rate and implied cross rate. Okay, what is the cross rate? Cross rate is exchange between two currencies, such as currency exchange versus with the common currency. So Malaysia currency versus the currency exchange, like example, Malaysian ringgit versus Thai baht versus Philippine pesos. And that is cross rate. Implied cross rate is a currency combination transaction in which the country of the person making the transaction. So that is number 2. If the rates, and this is number 3, if the rates from step 2 differ, then exchange the base currency to the second currency, which is Malaysia to that's the 3: Malaysia, Thai baht, and Philippine pesos. So they exchange the base currency for a second currency. So like Malaysia to Thai baht, and then Thai baht to Philippine pesos, and then there's triangle. Okay. So exchange. Okay. The fourth step is exchange the second currency for the third, because of the rate mismatch, and the last one, to make a profit, convert the third currency back into the first currency. So after, in the explanation previous, there's Philippine pesos to Malaysian ringgit, so they gain the profit at the last part. Okay, so explanation. Okay, we can analyze that the Thai baht and Philippine peso gave a satisfactory profit because they are profitable. Why is it profitable? Because triangular arbitrage is a trading method that takes advantage of arbitrage chances that we call as triangle arbitrage opportunity. That's why our calculation gain a profit. Although Malaysia currency fell a bit on 2021 due of pandemic. So that's all for my explanation. I'm gonna pass for a recommendation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sakinah Zahirah, Binti Sazali, and today I would like to present about the best combination of the arbitrage. So first, a triangle arbitrage method entails 3 trades: the first currency for a second, and the second currency for a third, and the third currency for the first. The arbitrage locks in the zero risk profit from the disparity that arise when the market cross exchange rate is not aligned with the implicit cross exchange rate during the second deal. Profitable triangle arbitrage is very uncommon because when such chances exist, traders conduct deals that exploit the defects and price adjust up or down until the opportunity vanish. So as we can see from the first picture, we're supposed to have 100 Thailand baht, and at the last of the arbitrage, we got 100.17 Thailand baht, so we can get profit 0.177 Thailand baht in this arbitrage. So from the picture number 2, we have 200 Thailand baht. So Thailand baht to Vietnamese dong, Vietnamese dong to Philippine peso, and Philippine peso to Taiwan, Taiwan to Thailand baht. So we got 101.7 Thailand baht. So we also get 0.17 Thailand baht in this arbitrage. So for the third picture, we're supposed to have 100 of Vietnamese dong. So Vietnamese dong to Thailand baht, Thailand baht to Philippine peso, Philippine peso to Taiwan, Taiwan to Vietnamese dong. So we got 101.61 Vietnamese dong. So this is a good combination. We got profit of 1.61 Vietnamese dong. The fourth picture, it shows that we supposed to have 100 Thailand baht. 100 Thailand baht. So Thailand baht to Vietnamese dong, and Vietnamese dong to Philippine peso, Philippine peso to Taiwan, Taiwan Thailand baht. So we got 100.17 Thailand baht. So we got profit 0.17 Thailand baht in this arbitrage. So the last one is supposed to have 100 Thailand baht. So Thailand baht to Vietnamese dong to Philippine peso, Philippine peso to Taiwan, Taiwan to Thailand baht. So we got 100.17 Thailand baht. So we got profit 0.17 Thailand baht in this arbitrage. So this is a good combination of the arbitrage. So for the conclusion, the combination 4 provides us more benefit which will assist us in making a profit. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Mohamad, Azim and Zainudin, and for my presentation, I will give a few recommendations to increase the value of a currency for a country. So first of all, countries should reduce inflation. If inflation is lower than that of competitors, the country's goods become more appealing and demand rises. In the long run, lower inflation tends to boost the currency worth. The government may lower inflation via tightening of fiscal and monetary policy as well as supply-side policies. Country will require a mix of low inflation, labor productivity, political and economic stability to have a better exchange rate. Next is the hard money flow, implying hard money flow. Hard money flow occurs when banks and financial institutions transfer funds to another nation to take advantage of higher savings rates. Higher interest rate would encourage the influx of hard money. When it comes to currency demand, the greater the interest rate is, the higher the demand. And for the final recommendation that I would like to give is countries can agree on an exchange rate that is mutually supported, either at a fixed rate or within a band. The object is to lower the risk and cost of cross-border commerce for both business and consumers. That is it for my part. Thank you. So to conclude for our international trade assignment, the relative value of two currencies is known as a foreign exchange rate. Exchange rates are the amount of one currency that can be exchanged for another. The foreign exchange market, or forex to be shortened, determines the majority of currency exchanges rate. A country economic performance, inflation, expectation, interest rate differentials, capital flow, and other variables all impact exchanges rate. The strength or weakness of the underlying economy usually determine the exchanges rate of a currency. As a result, the value of a currency might change from one moment to the next. Foreign exchange can be complex. It is vital for practically everyone to grasp the foreign currency market in today's global marketplace. People will increasingly be needed to face the problem linked with the fact that multiple currencies are utilized throughout the world and that this currency will have an immediate influence on our world. With trillions of dollars moved every day, foreign currency markets have become the world's most liquid and ongoing marketplaces. Speculators and hedgers can choose an instrumental and leverage that meet their demands, whether trading in the open market, future market, or option market. So that is it, madam, for our assignment. Thank you.